Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, with me is
Ashley Ma.
And welcome to the half-hour radio program that airs on 104.5 The Flame every Sunday at 10 a.m. But also because of a wonderful partnership with St. Lucie Public Schools, we also broadcast the show once a month on their channel WLX TV. So if you're listening on the radio, you could jump to WLX TV, just look it up on YouTube, and you can see all of our past shows, which I think go back at least 5, 6, 7 years.
At least that many, and you will learn once you do that we haven't gotten much better since
You can
then.
see the aging process that has taken place over those years. Well, welcome to the show that's all about connecting you, the listener, and the viewer about what resources and things are available for children and families in St. Lucie County. Now, Ashley and I work for the Children's Services Council, not media professionals. That's pretty obvious. But what we do at the Children's Services Council is 5 things for our community, and these are the 5 things that we work on every day. And those 5 things are: 1, making sure every baby's a healthy baby; 2, stopping child abuse by building strong families; 3, keeping kids off the streets; 4, keeping them in school; and 5, keeping them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors by offering programs and resources for all families in our community.
I saw you counting today, so you did a good job.
And I threw a curveball to our guest who was like, wait a minute, he tweaked one of the priorities.
She was also counting. So we talk about those priority areas all the time, but there's a couple of different ways where you can learn more about exactly what happens in those areas. One of them is in our family guide, where Sean has brought props today. In our family guide, we have a list of every program that we work with, along with contact information and a description of what they do, why they do it, and how you can get in touch with them. This information is also available on our website at cscslc.org. Same contact information, same links. We also, from our website, link to most of those agencies, so you can learn more about them as well if there's something that you're looking for. And then one more thing that I wanted to mention is that we also share information about these programs on our Facebook page. Quite a bit, actually. I feel like more now than before. Most of these agencies work as nonprofits in our community. A lot of them sustain on fundraisers that happen. So there's always information shared on our Facebook page about events that they have going on, new programs that they're releasing, how to get in touch with them about things that they're doing in the community. So lots of different ways that you can learn more about everything that's going on with those programs.
It's really a polite way of just asking you folks to jump on Facebook, look up Children's Services Council, like our page, because we post
all
there
those things
nearly every day, and including on Sundays, we show the video of this radio program.
That's right. You can watch all of them there with discretion.
So before we get to our guests, a couple of things. We're recording in May.
Yep.
And and I can never keep track of what month is what, but I know May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is.
Correct? And last week I know we had Ann Berner from Southeast Florida Behavioral Health Network to talk about mental health and all the resources that are available. But I just want to remind our viewers and listeners that if you are experiencing a crisis, if you need somebody to talk to, you can always call 211. Yep. It's a simple number. It is 211. And they have trained professionals there to talk with people of all ages about whatever crisis they're going through, and/or they are also the connection to the mobile crisis unit here in St. Lucie County. So if there is a situation that your family's having and you need somebody to physically come to you, the crisis is defined by you, but that's the entry point to make those services happen by calling 211.
I really enjoyed our conversation with Ann last week, because I think that specific point about the mobile crisis unit is not something that a lot of people understand. And she said that generally their response time is within 15 minutes, which I thought was awesome. So to be able to convene professionals to help you within 15 minutes it's pretty impressive.
It's phenomenal, yeah. So again, 211, and for you young people that happen to be watching this because your parents are making you and/or you can't find the remote, 211 also has a text line. I can't say that I have that memorized off the top of my head.
I think it's 898-211. Can you believe that I remember that?
Yeah, keep looking. Yeah, it is 898-211 because it's in our program guide, bringing it all full circle. But if you text 898-211, that same professional can communicate with you via text. And anybody that has teenagers knows preferred way of communication.
We actually, I shared some information on our Facebook page this week too, related to 211. There's studies that are being done right now that are relating early childhood mental health to success, obviously, later in school. And so we shared a great article on our Facebook page. I would encourage you to go look at it. It talked about the benefits of receiving mental health services for children at a young age. And I know that we talk about that a lot in our community, but there's some good information in that article.
Yep. And the other thing, because it's May, which means the next month is
June,
which means school
hot.
is out and it's hot.
And
We were
it's
talking
hot.
about that. I was walking in the studio. It's definitely summertime in Florida. It's hot
Yeah.
out. But I hate to break it to you, and I probably know this if you're watching the education channel, but just in case you don't, school's going to be out in less than a month.
Yeah, it's crazy. My kids are counting down the days, so it's coming. It's coming fast.
And why are we bringing that up? Because hopefully you have enrolled your child in a summer camp. If you have not, and I'm sorry, if you have teenagers, a summer experience. If you have not, jump to our website, cscslc.org. We have a full listing. I believe we have 23 sites across the county. And we're also partnering closely with the St. Lucie Public Schools because they are offering camps, summer camps at 2 weeks, Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And our sites your child can be dropped off at our sites, Children's Services Council sites, after 2 p.m. But you have to register first. You have to contact that organization to make sure that your child has a spot. But we are working closely with the public schools to make sure our children, one, are safe in the summer. And the second most important priority is making sure that they're getting a little bit of an education booster. They hide it in all the fun activities that they do, but that's definitely something that we're really looking at and very important, particularly for those kids that maybe spent at least part of the year in virtual schooling.
Yes, and I'm going to say this. I feel like I've said this every time we've talked about summer lately, but we have not forgotten about our teens and even our tweens this year. There are several programs that are catering specifically to those age groups. The teens focus a lot on career exploration, goal setting, things that interest them because we know it's hard to keep the keep the interest of a 15, 16-year-old.
The pull of Netflix and PS4 or 5 is real.
You gotta have really good programming for those teenagers. But we have some programs that are doing a really great job. So don't forget about them. There are programs for them also.
And the great thing is when they partner with the Children's Services Council, one of the criteria is we want to make sure that it's very affordable for all families. So most of them are greatly reduced than what you traditionally see in a privately run summer program.
Yeah, and again, we know those slots are filling up and you do have to register with their programs directly. We don't handle the registration for them. But if you have questions about what might be the best fit for your child, you can absolutely call us at the office, 408-1100, and we'll try to kind of talk through some of the things your kid is interested in and what might be a good place for them.
It just dawned on me. We're doing the show, and the first time in a year, we're actually sitting within arm's length of each other.
So close.
Because,
who knew? We're back.
We're back. We're vaccinated. We're good.
We're good.
All right. I say that just in case somebody's watching, like, why are they so close together? I just want to clarify that.
There's no more split screen.
The other thing I want to mention, and we've been running this, if you're on Facebook, check it out. It's a great little commercial to remind everybody how important water safety is for this summer. It's a short little video, public service announcement, and the quick message is if you as a parent, grandparent, or just an adult, and there's children around bodies of water, somebody has to be watching those children. And watching those children doesn't mean reading a book. It doesn't mean checking your phone. It means watching the children because drowning, as tragic as that is, it is not a loud event. It's very quiet. So you have to make sure that you're watching the water. And if you don't know who the adult is who's watching the water, congratulations, it's you. Make sure that every child is safe this summer. And when you think of waterways, most people think of pools. But remember, there is water literally everywhere in Florida. So, even if you have young kids, make sure you know where they're at so they're not running out and getting in the canals and whatnot.
Yep. And as a reminder on that note, we do work with St. Lucie County's Parks and Rec Aquatics Department to provide water safety lessons to local families. So there is information about that on our website. There also is a great program that's being run by Safe Kids St. Lucie and the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Department where they're also offering water safety lessons. So those two places, absolutely check them out if that's something that you're interested in for your kids. The sheriff's lessons are actually free, but those slots will fill up really quickly. So the information about that, of both of those programs, is available on our website as well.
So I'm going to segue to our guest.
Okay.
Sort of.
Uh-oh.
So this past weekend, had the opportunity, I know,
Oh,
I'm throwing
okay.
a left turn here,
Okay,
but I
got
promise
you.
I'll make this work. Last weekend, had the opportunity to attend the PhD graduation
Yes.
of a young woman that participated in one of our funded programs, the Boys and Girls Club. She received our Outstanding Youth Award, which is a scholarship program, and we were the first entity to provide her a scholarship. And at the young age of,
I think she's a sophomore.
yeah, she has her PhD.
Yeah,
It's
that's
phenomenal.
amazing.
And how I tie that into our guest is because we have an unusual guest. She's not unusual, but the tie to this organization, because you may not think the Children's Services Council and the Chamber of Commerce. You may think nonprofits helping children and families and Chamber of Commerce helping businesses. So what's that link? We work closely together, and one of the ways that we work closely together is providing Young Floridian scholarships to children and youth throughout our community. So proud to welcome, I know you usually do the
I know,
introduction.
I'm impressed.
I had this segue planned in my head. Proud to welcome with us the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce of St. Lucie County, Terissa Aronson.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like this is awkward because you normally host the shows. You're not frequently the interviewee.
I'm not. And Kathy Townsend, Commissioner Townsend tried that on me once. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well,
So I hope for better here, but yes.
we'll try to make
When
it
we were talking, I couldn't watch her because I felt like she was like, don't say this. She was like mouthing what we should say. It was hard.
I was trying to follow along. There was so much information. One, he did throw me a curveball because I do know the 5 areas.
And you do a
and
very
the
good
second
job.
one was like, wait, that's not the right wording. But I won't correct the CEO of on his own priorities.
Understood.
And then I was having a little PTSD with when my child was younger and I had to get her into camp and you used to have to wait in line and sign. Oh my gosh.
It's so much easier now, so we'll skip that. But it's easy.
Yeah.
I get you. I have 3, so I feel you there.
You're in the heart of that.
I am. I sure am. Well, thank you for joining us today. Sean talked about Young Floridian as a partnership. There's actually several ways
Multiple.
that we have started working with the Chamber, maybe in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
But for somebody who maybe isn't familiar with what the function of a Chamber of Commerce is in their community, talk a little bit about how you guys work here and what makes us special because we're a unified Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, I appreciate that. It's funny because I don't talk about the Chamber that much.
You don't.
I know. So the Chamber of Commerce is a private sector nonprofit, and we are dedicated to business resources and advocacy. I mean, that's the quick and easy way to say it. But when you do advocacy and you provide resources, as you know, it's very expansive. So I kind of feel like we have our hands in every pie in the county, but I wouldn't really have it any other way. But we certainly are there to be supportive of businesses, and resources include everything from education of future workforce, which is why we do Young Floridian, and really delving into regulatory processes, bureaucratic.
The less fun part.
The less fun stuff. I coined a phrase the other day, BIBB, or SIBB, standard issued bureaucratic, because there's always, I won't say the last word, this is an educational channel. And so it's always a lot in that process as well, but very fulfilling. And our partnership with you guys has been amazing. And I don't think our businesses, when they join the Chamber, they don't really understand how children's services affects their daily life and it affects their daily workforce. And so I feel like over the past 5-6 years, they've really gotten to understand that a lot more.
I think that's the beauty of our chamber, and quite honestly, you, in that, when we approached the chamber a few years ago, and this isn't just a love fest, I promise you. We'll get to some content here, folks. But I think, we offer programs and resources, and people, think of children and parents, but you understand many of these families are employees and business owners, and if you can provide after school and that peace of mind so that when they're at work, or there's a program that can give them peace of mind and give them the help so that when they're on the job they can concentrate on the job, that has value. And when we kind of tried to formalize our partnership, you got that instantly, because a lot of your members are obviously businesses, but you have a lot of nonprofit organizations.
So many, yeah. An unusual amount of nonprofit organizations are members of our chamber, which I'm kind of proud of that. Some of my fellow chamber heads are like, well, we don't have that many nonprofits. Like it's a, substandard sect of business. And I'm like, I don't know what I would do without my nonprofits. They are such huge resources for us. And people don't understand the economic impact, and that's where I was able to sell it to my chamber members. It's not just about kids and providing activities or educational, but it's also its own little economic engine. It employs, I'm not sure, over 400 people now. You have matching, it's more than that. I think Sean told me that. I knew I was going to get that wrong. And then the matching dollars that we get through grants is huge. So that's a huge, if you had a business, one business, that employed over 400 people and drew down another $8 million, you would be like, we need to support this big business, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how I feel about the Children's Services Council.
So let's talk about, and we appreciate that sincerely. You know that. We sincerely appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about some of our partnerships. So we alluded that the summer is coming.
Yes.
And so this, folks, if you're watching, this is encourage you to enroll your child in a Children's Services Council funded after summer program, because they're going to experience our county. They're going to see all that our county has to offer.
Yeah, like no other. I love this program, and people again are like, well, how did that?
What
I don't
happened
understand.
here?
But we have our visitor center, and we have book excursions out of our visitor center. That's another service the chamber provides, is an entryway into a community. And Sean came to me, and Ashley, you talked to me about, well, these kids should probably experience some of these things. And so we took on booking the camps at excursions and activities that our community is significant to our community. Because everybody always wants to go to Disney in summer camp, right?
Right. Well, what happened was we would get these applications, and they would, their application would be like $6,000 to send them to Busch Gardens.
Yes.
And we're like, there's so much to offer here. And Tanya from our office actually came up with the idea of the summer passports, but in our minds we're like, we don't know these people. Like, are we just going to randomly hey, Children's Museum, hey, Lisa's Kayaks? But then I think you, Ashley, and Terissa, you guys had a conversation, and that's when Terissa's like, well, that's what we do.
And I think too, to give another chamber program a plug, it really kind of follows the leadership program that you guys offer through Leadership St. Lucie. It's kind of giving the kids a little glimpse of that as they go through the summer. So the idea behind it being that there's so much in our community that they could be exposed to, whether it's small businesses or nonprofits or facilities like the Navy SEAL Museum or things like that, that the summer programs were probably overlooking as they were booking all of those things, or it was complicated for them to do for that many kids at one time. And so you sort of have alleviated some of those barriers for them to give those kids those experiences. And I know from our end, the sailing on the river or going kayaking,
yes,
we've gotten phone calls from the program directors that's the first time their kids have ever been to the river. That's the first time that they've been on a boat. There's just experiences there that they've gotten opportunities to do that otherwise they would not have had.
It is heartwarming, and Lisa's Kayaks is a good example. She now collects bathing suits and works with the camps to provide other opportunities on the water, because she was surprised herself, owning and operating a kayak rental in Fort Pierce, that many of these kids that live just on the other side of US 1 may have never been to the water. And so she said it's been life-changing for her, and the camp directors have said it's been life-changing for them. I mean, that is... How do you not want to support that? When, kids know what Busch Gardens are, they know Disney, but, they probably haven't been on a sailboat like with Sail a Key. And even the cake lady who's been featured on Food Network, she comes in and makes cupcakes with them. And so these are activities that are here, relatively inexpensive, so we can send more people to them. I mean, because you can't get to Busch Gardens for what you can rent a kayak for. So it's just been amazing to hear the stories. And we demand pictures. That's the price of admission, is you got to take pictures. And so the pictures have been great too. And I think last year they presented us a poster they made of some of the pictures out on the water. It was really, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And it helps our small businesses. I mean, some of these vendors are they're hurting. you're not having a standing room only crowd at the Historical Society during July.
No, correct.
Yeah, so it helps them out a great deal too.
And I do think that there's a benefit to the kids too, not only the experiences that they're having, but learning about their community gives them roots here. It kind of ties them, we always talk about we want them to go away to college and then come back. And that gives them, an idea of what happened here that we want them to come back to.
And with Leadership St. Lucie, you mentioned that when we would do History Day and we talk about the Highwaymen and Zora Neale Hurston, for 10 years, people would be like, who's that? What's that? And then you say, well, Oprah made a movie, and then it kind of comes around. But I feel like because we're starting to expose people younger and younger, that when I get to leadership, many of them are familiar with that. And that stems from all these programs we do with these kids from an earlier age, and they're moving into the workforce. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So for grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts, uncles, parents that are watching, caregivers, so we know summer passports. I've heard the Sail a Key, Lisa's Kayaks, the Cupcake Lady.
Yes.
Can you maybe some of the other entities off the top of your head?
I did the ones that really appeal to the kids.
Oh, okay, my bad.
But we do have, and honestly, I always tell people you shouldn't be a resident of St. Lucie County if you haven't been to the Historical Society, because it really does, it's just so expansive. It explains a lot, and it does make you feel tied to your community. The Navy SEAL Museum, to have the only Navy SEAL museum that exists in the world right here in our backyard.
And it's awesome, by the way. It's so
awesome.
Fun.
It's so awesome. They do such a great job. It's much bigger than people think.
Yeah.
They get out there and they see these huge P boats, and they're like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of educational ones. The Children's Museum, even though it may not be technically in our county, but they've done such a great job of integrating our county into their activities. They do such a wonderful job as well. And we even have the Mets this year. We're sending kids to baseball games,
which is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. And that's new this year.
It's new this year. Yeah, we haven't done
But
that.
I think the kids are really going to enjoy that as well.
I think a lot of them probably have not been to a baseball game at that beautiful stadium, that was built here.
It's a lot like the water. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the Mets Stadium, or I'm sorry, Clover Park now, but where the Mets play, that's a staple of St. Lucie County.
It
I mean,
is.
people come, across the nation to come, particularly around spring training, and to live here and never go there. This is, again, could be a lifetime, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them.
Yeah, and the camp is sometimes the only way they're going to get there. They do have a free kids' night and stuff, but all these things take resources, so this camp might be their only opportunity to get to that stadium. So I think we should have a Children's Services Camp Day where they all have to come out, maybe. Wouldn't that be fun?
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, do some awards, and I don't know. I thought
Some fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some activities.
I like
All
it.
right, that's how these things happen.
Yeah. Well, let's work out the detail with the 5 minutes left we have on the
The
show.
new program was born.
But hopefully, if you're watching and listening, this has kind of enticed you to think about even more so what your child's going to do in the summer, and know that we are partnering with the Chamber for these wonderful activities that really showcase our community. And I really love the fact that I already knew it helped businesses, but to hear you say that the businesses understand, children and youth and that impact, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
The Sail a Key guy is the same too. He's like, I wouldn't stop doing it for the world, because it's so fulfilling for them to give these kids that experience. So they all love it. Beyond the fact that, we are giving them some stipends for doing it.
Right.
It's the fulfillment, I think, that keeps them back. We're starting to get a little big, and we're having to spread that money a little thinner and thinner. And every year I hear about that, and I'm like, you're not the only game in town. We have to share the love. So
I was on one of those calls.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm glad you're organizing this part of it.
yeah.
So before we wrap up, I know our time is winding down, but one of the other partnerships that we have that I think is really fun and unique, I think probably across organizations like ours anywhere, is the Small Business Big Challenge. And that was something that started early in the pandemic last year as a way to sort of get people back out picking up food from restaurants when that started to be available. So we pick a local restaurant, a local eatery, and one of our funded programs to sort of partner together on a specific day, and whatever the sales proceeds are for that day, up to $1,000, we match as a donation to the nonprofit. And that has been so fun to watch what has happened. I have gotten to try new restaurants that
Oh, good.
I don't know why. I had never been there before. Some of them have become new favorites. But it's been a really fun partnership to kind of go through that.
That was amazing because it helped out some nonprofits that were not probably getting the donations they typically would. But these restaurants, they're all local or a local franchise, like locally owned restaurants. And it really helped sustain them.
Yeah.
And then we tried to sort of not do it every week after the initial pandemic. And they were like, excuse me? So we've had to bring it back. We're doing it once a month.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that our restaurants, our local restaurants, have fared a little better during the pandemic than some of our national chains, not to wish them harm, but we want to take care of our own, which led into our We All Love Local gift cards that we now sell that are good at over 19 local establishments. So you can buy a gift card from us, $20 for $20, and it's good at 19 different establishments. And a lot of those local eateries that were part of that initial Small Business Big Challenge.
Yeah.
If they're interested in the gift cards, what you just mentioned, do they go to your website?
Yep, you can buy them right on our website. You can get them at any of our events, and you can always get them at our Seven Gables location in downtown Fort Pierce on Indian River Drive. It's open Tuesday through Saturday, and our offices are open Monday through Friday. So you can get them anytime.
And I know it's on the screen, but for our radio listeners, what is your website?
stluciechamber.org. I can read it right up there.
There you go. And the Small Business Big Challenge, you can learn about that, the viewers and listeners. We post that the week of or the week before on our Facebook pages, both the restaurant's Facebook page, the nonprofit, Children's Services Council, and
All
the Chamber.
places.
And Ashley brings them a little sign to put out in front.
John does that.
Sean does that?
No, John.
Okay.
John is responsible for the sign, but he does a great job. He
Yes.
brings it everywhere. It gives them a little bit of a buy-in.
A reminder.
And so, if you weren't planning on going specifically for that day, when you show up, you know what's happening. So
You do. Although I can say, when I go, I run into chamber members and CSC
Yes.
programs, and they're like, "Oh, you're here
I'm
for
here for
this."
this.
See?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it works.
perfect. We love it.
So I know we got like a minute left, but I also want to just, because we kind of segue to you, but you run the Young Floridian Scholarship Program. So once a year, you're giving out, 15 scholarships?
16 now.
16.
Yes.
And you partner with all the high schools, and in categories, they submit youth to, vie for this award. And it's a great event because it ties in not only the schools, but you have so many members of the business community being judges and talking with these kids. It's really, we keep saying life-changing, but it is a life-changing experience to go through.
Yeah, it's the only scholarship program sort of its kind in this area where there is an interview process for these kids with a panel of 3 adults. So we give them training, which I think is the best part of Young Floridian, is the training to be able to deal with that circumstance and not let it get the best of you. So most of them are, you fill out an application, it's reviewed, and they let you know. This is like it takes several months. There's a breakfast to tell the judge what they're looking for. Then we work with the coordinators, and then the kids come in, and then, it's like 4 or 5 events. So it's a lot, but I think that it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. A lot of these kids have never had to formally shake a hand or, eat in a formal setting, and so I really appreciate the partnership.
So we're winding down. I just want to encourage everybody to go to the Chamber's website, which is?
stluciechamber.org.
And know when you think of the Chamber, not only businesses, but really full service for the whole community, both nonprofits, profits, and then all the children and families in the community. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A reminder that it's a weekly radio program on 104.5 The Flame every Sunday at 10 a.m. We rebroadcast the video at 11 a.m. on our Facebook page, and we show up here on WLX TV once a month. We are trying to be everywhere. Thank you for listening. Remember, it's our children, our community, our future. Now more than ever, folks, we're all in this together. We'll see you next time.